Hey everyone, and welcome to this official press conference for the WBO Heavyweight Championship title bout between Joseph Parker and Razvan Cojanu on Saturday night, next Saturday night, at the Vodafone Event Centre. We are going to rule under a line today about Hughie Fury. We're not going to talk about Hughie Fury at all or anything about this. Finally, after what has been a bit of a scramble over the last couple of days, we're really excited at Duco to say that this fight is on and Joseph will defend his title for the first time in New Zealand and maybe the last time as well that he defends his title in New Zealand. Now, obviously you guys have been watching the media, you've been seeing a lot of people calling Joseph out, and you'll be intrigued to find out why Razvan is the guy who, in the end, has got the title decider. Well, I'm going to give you a press release very, very shortly, and that will just tell you exactly the process that we went through. Suffice to say that I think Kevin got a call around quarter to one on Sunday afternoon. I think I got a call about 10 to 1, and David was around about the same time. And by own admission, we've really scrambled in the last 24, 48 hours, but remarkable job, particularly from our matchmaker, Stuart Duncan, who's managed to get this fight together. Now, I know that there's been talk of, say, Deontay Wilder fighting. Let's put that one to bed right now. Deontay Wilder has a mandatory against Stavern, and if he was to challenge Joseph, he wanted that fight in July, so that was never going to happen because Joseph is the champion, and he's been training for May 6th, so he does have a say in the matter. Dominic Brazil was another one who said that he wanted the fight, well, he wanted an 8-week training camp, so he wasn't prepared to come here on May 6th. And you go down the list of people, obviously Hughie Fury's out injured, but Christian Hammer's already signed to defend his European title. So I go further down the list. Jarrell Miller's another person who is a pretty tough contender, but Joseph has been challenging, whereas Joseph for the last 12 weeks has been trying to prepare himself for a guy who's about 6'6", and Jarrell Miller's about 6 foot, so he's out. So I'm going to provide you a list of all those contenders in the WBO top 15 to see how we got to where we are now. But this is the first opportunity for you to talk to Joseph Parker, Kevin Barry, and also Razvan as well. So I will ask Joseph to come up and say a few words and just give us an idea of how hectic it has been for the last 24, 48 hours and how happy you are that the fight is on.
Hello everyone, thank you for being here today. I was going to speak first, but anyways, I'll speak. It's coming down to New Zealand and preparing for Fury. It was a really great camp. We had actually a 12-week camp in Vegas where everything went well, working on techniques and different skills and working on pairs with Kevin to come up with a game plan to face Fury. And when we got down here, obviously you guys saw that the fight was cancelled against him. So Fury's up the window now to bring his name into this again. Now I have an opponent in Razvan who's also very experienced. And like Craig said, we went down the list and Kevin did his research on a lot of fighters that were taken, a lot of fighters already scheduled to fight, and also ones that were on longer training camps. And Razvan stood out as an opponent who was prepared to come down and put up a great fight, also had a lot of power, he's got a great record. So Fury pulling out, sorry, I said his name again, I'll throw it out soon. Fury pulling out was a little stressful, but we had a little sort of feeling that he would have pulled out. A few things that a few signs that he was showing, or his team was showing, so we didn't really want to think he was going to pull out, but he did. And I left the things to my team to sort of take care of, and my focus is just purely on being prepared for May 6th, training hard, and just being 100% physically, mentally in great shape. So I'm grateful that now I have an opponent who's down here in New Zealand. I'm looking forward to fighting May 6th. It'll probably be our last fight here in New Zealand before we go overseas. So I'm looking forward to putting on a great show for everyone who's been supporting us from the start, and I look forward to being in the ring and letting my hands go, hopefully hitting someone.
Just before you go, Joseph, it would be remiss of me not to mention that probably your greatest performance in the ring in the last 12 months was against Alexander Dimitrenko, where you beat him in 3 rounds, and Razvan was the guy who actually got you in shape for that bout.
Yeah, me and Raz, we've done sparring together, and the way I see this fight, it's actually a little more dangerous than the Fury fight. The reason I say that, he's got power, but also he knows how I fight, he knows my styles and techniques. He's been in camp with us before, So it's a fight where I'm looking forward to seeing who's gonna figure who out first. And I feel like I've trained a house hunt for this fight. I'm always confident going into this fight because I have a great team behind me, great coach behind me who teaches me different skills and techniques of different opponents. And I'm looking forward to May 6th. I'm grateful there's a fight. As I said, I'm grateful there's a fight on, and looking forward to being in the ring again.
Right, Raz, I'll get you to come up and say a few words now. As well as being a former sparring partner of Joseph Parker, this is a man who's also signed contracts to fight the likes of Jarrell Miller and probably the most avoided man in the division, Royce Ortiz. And those guys, he signed the contracts and those fights have fallen through, so he's always been available to fight. He will say a few words. He's had over 300 professional bouts, and obviously amateur, I apologise. And obviously he knows Joseph Parker and Joseph Parker's style intimately well. Probably the only person who knows it better is Hughie Fury.
Hello guys, First of all, I apologize for my English. I'm trying to do my best. It's my second language. My first language is Romanian. I'm Romanian. I know Joseph Parker, and I know Joseph Parker team from the camp. And they are very professional. They are good people. Very professional. When I go over there, I did my job. And like Joe said, this fight, it's funny. It's funny why I'm still smiling. It's like a shock for me. I didn't expect to happen like that. I'm gonna start again by saying I'm happy, and I want to thank to Hughie Fury because he pulled out. I got a chance. It's like a funny joke for me, but I love it. And I didn't accept this fight because of the money. No, I'm not saying I'm rich. I'm not rich either. No, but every fighter should be dumb, fool, stupid. Even at 12 in the night, if I get a title shot, I'm gonna say yes. And why? Because for this I'm training. A lot of fighters are training for this chance all their life, and they don't get it. And me now, I'm coming here not to fight Joseph Parker. I come here to prove to you guys and to prove to the whole world I can knock Joseph Parker out. And many of you maybe will laugh. I know him from the training camp. I know a lot of his mistakes. I know a lot of his strategies, which he used with Dimitrenko, which he want to use right now with Fury. And I know him, and I know myself. And I can tell you this, we're gonna sound funny again. In the camp, I did like 50, 60, 70% maximum. In the fight, I'm gonna go 100%. I'm very respectful for them. They are great guys. I've been in Povetkin camp, I've been in Dylan White camp, I've been in Charles Martin camp. For me, their team is one of the most professional team from how many I meet in my life. And I have all my respect. I know they respect me from who I am and what I'm doing. And what can I say? You guys are gonna have a good fight next week. Don't be upset. Sorry. Don't be upset because of Fury, he pulled out. No. Why not? No. Many of you're gonna be surprised. Probably you're gonna have a better fight than that. Thank you very much. Let me shake your hand, guys.
Sitting next to Razvan is his coach John Arthur. John, if you'd like to come up and say a few words about how ready mentally you guys are for this fight. Only 13 days out, 12 days out.
First of all, I'd like to say good evening to everybody. Good afternoon, I say. My time was a little bit off. We just flew in today. But I want to thank you guys for accepting us in your hometown. And if the fight goes any way like we did in camp, you're going to have a hell of a fight. These guys rumble. And I can't say it enough, Kevin and his team are very professional. I've had so many champions, and I've been in so many camps. This is far the best. You know, from James Tony all the way down. So my thing is that we're here to fight. This is business now. And thank you guys very much for having us here.
It'll be remiss of me not to mention and to thank our friends at Great Wall and Haval. Thank you very much for coming on board and sponsoring us for this bout. We really appreciate all the support we have, but these guys have really stepped up at short notice to help us put this fight on, and we thank you very much for allowing us to have your facility today to have this press conference. Kevin Barry, if you'd like to come up and say a few words. One of the things perhaps is probably important to point out that in all times you guys have sparred, Razvan, Joseph's never been down.
Good afternoon. Firstly, I'd like to welcome Raz, John and Lionel. They are a great team. We know Razvan very well. And when we were placed in the situation last Sunday, we looked at the top 15 guys in the WBO, and fighting Razvan was one of our least preferred options, for the simple fact is we've had him in 2 training camps over the last 4 years. And during those camps, well, for a start off, look, I run a camp that's very open. I don't bring the sparring partners in for an hour, spar them with Joe and tell them to get out. The gym is always open. When they're not sparring, they're in the gym training. When they're not sparring, they're in the gym with us. They're watching me, what I'm doing with Joe. They're training with my assistant trainers, preparing, making themselves better so that they can perform at a level to help my fighter, or our fighter, Joseph Parker, be the best he can be. Now, because of that, this fight is a very concerning fight for me, because Razvan probably knows more about Joe than any other opponent that he's fought. Razvan has had over 300 amateur fights. This is not somebody who's not experienced. This is a guy that knows how to fight. He has all the tricks. When he said before, I give 50-70% in sparring, you know, I see that. But, you know, when we're in sparring, we're working on different things associated with the fight coming up. He has a job to do, Joe has a job to do. So, you know, this fight is a very risky fight for me because of those circumstances. When Joe and I sat down and we looked at it, and we looked at the fact that we've had a 12-week training camp, and in this 12 weeks we've worked probably harder than we've ever worked before, because let's remember, this young man now is the WBO heavyweight champion of the world. So he's highly motivated. We were fighting an opponent that I'm not going to name, who was very, very awkward. And because of that, there were a lot of skill set works that we had to incorporate into this training camp to get Joe ready for that awkward style. Now, we've spent 12 weeks preparing and fighting a certain way, and now, less than 2 weeks out from the fight, we're fighting a totally different style. We're fighting a man who is not only bigger than the opponent that we were to fight, but he's a lot stronger, he hits a lot harder, and for me, I think it is a far more dangerous fight for us. So, you know, we have the task at the moment of, we know Joe's in great shape. He's trained very hard in the last 12 weeks. But we're having to revise our fight strategy and everything that we've planned to do on May 6 to now change for this big Romanian man beside me. I know this is going to be a great fight. I know it's going to be an exciting fight. Raz has won 2 WBO regional belts in his short professional career. You know, he's well known by the WBO. He's also well known in this part of the world. He's fought in Australia. He was the main sparring partner with Alex Leopai when Leopai fought Klitschko for the world title. And Noel Thornbury, who was the trainer for Alex Leopai, will tell you that Alex Leopai couldn't lay a glove on this guy. And Leopai fought Klitschko for the title. I know, and Joe knows, what Raz brings. This is going to be an exciting fight, a very challenging fight. But when you become the heavyweight champion of the world, you have to become the heavyweight champion of all styles. And that's why, you know, I said to Joe, hey, we can just pull out now. You know, our opponent is out. You know, we don't have to fight. We can regroup. We can have a break for a couple of months and then come back in the training camp. And Joe goes, Coach, you know we've trained hard for 12 weeks. I need to fight. And when you look at the last 3 years, Joe's fought 5 times a year for the last 3 years. Right at the moment, he hasn't fought for 5 months, so he needs to fight. And that is why we've prepared to take the risk and to assign Razvan to this fight Saturday week, May 6th. Just before I go, because my lips are starting to stick together because I'm talking too much. Some of these other names are out there, like Dominic Brazil. Let me tell you this, you know, a few of you know who Brazil is. He fought Joshua, he beat Izu in a pretty exciting fight. I know that this guy has sparred a lot of rounds with Brazil and messed Brazil up a few times. So, like, he's a better fighter than Dominic Brazil. Brazil may be 6th in the rankings, but this guy's a much better fighter. Okay, so think about that. This will be a great fight, May 6th.
What we're going to do is we're going to do all in for Joseph and Kevin. David Higgins is here as well. Once we've done the Joseph questions, if you want to ask anything about the actual event itself and Razvan as well, we'll just open it all up. Or if you want to come down, actually. This is David Higgins, promoter and founder of Duke Clothing.
Right. Thank you everyone for coming. So, you know, the boxer, their job is to win the fight in the ring, and often they're in tricky situations. As a promoter, my job is to deal with that side of it and sometimes answer tricky questions. So, look, it's certainly been a stressful week, and we've got a team behind the scenes who've been under a lot of pressure, but working really quickly to try and fulfill our promise to defend the WBO Heavyweight Championship of the World on New Zealand soil for the first time. To get there, we've been through all sorts of hoops, jumping all sorts of hoops, winning a purse bid to force it here. Then the WBO had to give deadlines, and you know, our goal as a team was to defend that world title on New Zealand soil. So with the latest hiccup, that was sort of hanging in the balance, but some good people have worked real quick to come up with a wonderful solution, and I think an opponent, and the experts on my side are telling me the opponent at least as good as Hughie Fury, and definitely more heavy-handed. And so I'm actually quite pleased to be able to fulfill that promise to the market. Now, as a result of the changes, I'd like to acknowledge the fans who've come on the journey with us to this point. There's no way Joseph could be world champion without the paying public. We've never had any support from government, etc. It's the fans who buy the tickets, who buy the pay-per-view, and the sponsors like Great Wall and Haval that have funded the journey for Joseph to be world champion. And so, to those fans, I want to acknowledge that there has been a change, and out of respect for them, we would never put a bunny up. We'd rather pull the pin and cancel the show, and I'm seriously looking at cancelling the show. But when Razvan here quickly stepped up, and he must be hungry because the deal got done quick. There was no haggling, and that tells you something. That tells you that man wants to win the world title and take the world title off Joseph Parker, and it's dangerous, especially when you train to fight some of the different skill set. You've got a hungry, big unit with heavy hands. So it's going to be an exciting fight on May 6. We've made a few changes. So rather than Spark Arena, we've shifted the promotion to Vodafone Event Centre in Manukau, Joseph's hometown. You know, he grew up in Mangere to some old parents, but he feels right at home there. And in that journey, a few of those wins have happened at that venue. As it's been suggested, this could be the last time Joseph Parker fights in New Zealand, and so it would be nice to send him off with a full house in Manukau, hometown, a great atmosphere. And to the fans, we've reached out to our corporate buyers. Very pleased to say that they've been very supportive. There haven't been an avalanche of refund requests at all, because they're Joseph Parker fans, and we're serving up a great fight. Undercard hasn't changed. Probably could be the best undercard ever put on in New Zealand, with Cambosis of Australia, crack fight. So it's a very high quality undercard with a heavyweight world championship defence as a main event, and the fans are staying with us. Obviously, if anyone inconvenience does want a refund, they can contact us, of course. But the people who bought their tickets through Ticketmaster, those tickets remain valid. So if you paid for a ticket in the front zone at Vector Arena, you're going to get a ticket in the front zone at Vodafone Event Centre, and in the middle. So the tickets will be honoured, and it just means there's fewer of them. So if you want to see Joseph Parker fight in New Zealand for possibly the last time, the tickets from now will be on sale at Ticket Direct. Tables as well. We're nearly at capacity right now. The change of venue means we're nearly full. So there's very few places left. So if you're a fan that's thinking about sending Joseph off, I'd encourage you to stay with us. And I want to say that we are grateful to the people that are bearing with us through this tricky situation. But I think we've salvaged what will be a great promotion, probably one of the biggest sporting events of the year. And so I think that sort of covers that side of it. I'd welcome any questions if there are any in relation to the promotional matters.
David, how close were you to pulling the pin on the promotion?
Oh, very close. Received a phone call from the president of WBO to tell me the opponent was claiming to have a back injury. Very hard to disprove or prove back injuries one way or the other. But, there was a couple of days of butterflies in the stomach. Like I said, you can't kid the media and the public. Like, if we serve up a bunny opponent, people won't buy and we'll lose even more money. So, cancelling would have looked better, but, our matchmaker went to work, and Kevin, and, it was a relief that Mr. Cojanu stepped up. And I think the fact often there's weeks of haggling and arguing over deals. This guy wants his world title shot and was in like a rat up a drain pipe. And so that's made it easier. So we're going to thank their team for working quickly.
Did you have a deadline that you needed to work to get someone?
Well, given that it happened only 2 weeks out and the changes that need to be made, it was a case of having to come up with something within, say a 48-hour period. And so it's a relief. And I think we need to, the temptation, there'll be media commentators who'll probably be scathing, but the temptation is for some to be scathing, but hey, we've got a New Zealander, the first ever Kiwi to be world champion. He's fighting at home for the first time, defending that world title. That should be celebrated. There's a lot of positives here. So, be some that will take positive and others not.
David, if you have sold, you said you nearly at capacity at a new
Yes.
venue, why relocate to a smaller venue then? Do you feel you won't be able to sell as many tickets?
It's obvious. We have lower costs at the new venue, and it financially works better. Actually, and I'd like to pay tribute to the owner and CEO of Spark Arena. In our business, there's contracts and deposits often paid, right? And they could have enforced certain things that would have made it even harder. But Stuart Clumpus, the gentleman who owns Spark Arena, couldn't have been more supportive. He said, I used to be a promoter myself back in England, and I've had situations happen, and I'm going to make this as easy for you as possible. And so there's been some good people behind the scenes that have really stepped up, like Matthew Wales, who represents the Havel Great Wall sponsor. We've had some sponsors pull out, who I won't name, they've been supportive over the years, but we've also had some other people step up and be doubly supportive, which is, you know, it's great. We're very grateful.
But so the smaller venue is because a different opponent and perhaps a lesser fight?
Yeah, well, it's about keeping. There's costs involved in the switch, and the switching to smaller venue lowers our costs and makes the whole promotion. My goal is for it to be economically viable and at least break even, you know. So a lot of people think Dean Monaghan and I are profiteering. These people have no idea how hard this business is, and no idea the stress and risk involved. You know, it's been a lot easier for me to sign 3-4 months ago when the opposition camp wanted to fight in England. It would be a damn sight easier for me to sign the contract, go to England, and Dean and I would have made a lot more money. But Team Parker wanted home advantage, and we've sweated blood to deliver this fight here on New Zealand soil, and we will follow through. And I hope Joseph wins, but we take nothing for granted. I mean, look, this man could knock Joseph out.
What will this change do to the potential of your global sort of TV market, given that Fury obviously had a big share interest in the UK?
Yeah, well, look, this fight will still be distributed globally, as was the previous fight. It's still a heavyweight world title fight. So we'll be on TV around the world. All that means is we probably don't get as much money for English television. So the broadcasters are still on board, but for markets like the UK, obviously it's worth more to a UK broadcaster if there's a British fighter. So our UK money goes down, but we might get more out of Romanian television, which helps make up for it.
What's the price of the pay-per-view here, David?
It will be $49.95 plus, including GST, which is $10 cheaper than the world title win against Andy Ruiz Jr. And we had to think carefully about that, you know. Honesty is always the best policy. It's bloody expensive to hold a world title fight in New Zealand, and there's no other way to do it than charge the prices we charge. So you have to look at that as $49.95. Pacquiao, Mayweather and Kiwi dollars was over $100, Monday in green. If you benchmark globally, UFC in the United States and home market, they're paying $60, $70 more, whatever. So if you benchmark globally, a heavyweight world championship fight at that price is actually great value, especially when there's families or mates getting together and chipping in. And if I was to drop the price, say, to $39.95, that sort of undermines it. It's like saying to the market, this isn't as good as the previous opponent. But it is. This guy's at least as good as Hughie Fury. And this is a world title fight. And there is no other way to fund and make events work in New Zealand, especially in the absence of the sponsorship you can get offshore or government support. The Pacquiao-Horn fight that we're running in Brisbane, that has massive government support. We don't enjoy that here. So we're asking the fans are helping pay for it through that pay-per-view. And we're very grateful that they're part of the journey. And the ones who are the true Joseph Parker fans will stay with us and see it that way as a contribution to making it possible. Of course, there'll be critics. We expect that.
Have you had any word on terms of a rescheduling of the Fury fight at all from the WBO?
I would say that that's their side been working behind the scenes to try and force us to fight them later in the year, and we'll have choices. Our choice will be either, if it's terms that we really like on our terms, we might. If it's not, I think there's legal recourses and things that can be looked at, because it was very, claiming to have had a back injury for 3 weeks. Was quoted in the Mirror newspaper on Saturday saying he's in perfect health. So that all has to be considered. But at the end of the day, you take the emotion out of it. You don't hold grudges. If you can fight that opponent and the terms are right for our team, we'll fight that opponent. And often the adversarial promotions are the biggest. Pacquiao, Mayweather, two are Cameron. And there's certainly some adversarial dynamic between the two camps.
You've obviously downsized the venue and we've got a new opponent. Have other fighters getting paid less out of the two?
Unfortunately not. So no, we're fulfilling our obligations to everyone.
Speaking of other opponents, Kevin, we do have quite a sensational guy on the undercard. Do you want to just say a few words?
Just when Dave talked about this could be one of the best undercards that we've had, I brought a fighter with me. His name is Umar Salamov. He's this gentleman here. He's a two-time world youth professional champion. He's the IBO world champion. He's a very large light heavyweight who Joe and I met about 18 months ago when we did the training camp with Vladimir Klitschko. And we met him, he was standing with Klitschko going toe to toe, and he's a light heavyweight. The light heavyweight division at the moment is one of the glamour divisions of world boxing. You've got, Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev, and they're both around 30. Umar just turned 22, and he's 18-0. He is going to be one of the stars in the very near future. He's fighting a great opponent, a Croatian by the name of Emil Markic, who's 24-1 with 19 knockouts. It's a very big fight. It's for the WBO international belt, the one that Andre Ward recently vacated before becoming the unified light heavyweight world champion. So he won't be speaking today because for the last 2 months we've been teaching him English, so he won't be having too much to say. But you want to say hello? Do you like New Zealand? All right. This is Joe. He's a hell of a fighter, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll be champion soon, sure.
The last person we signed is Jeff Horn, and we said to our team of experts, Stuart Duncan, Kev's opinion, we said we only want to hire the best. In this business it's so tough. If you sign up heaps of mediocre fighters, you bleed money. So we're only the best, and so few and far between. And Stuart said to us, Jeff Horn, I'm picking him to go for a world title shot, and he was right. This is the same feedback on Uma. We've been told he's absolute cream of the crop, so we're having a discussion, having a good look at him while he's down here.
All right. This is quite a big day for our company actually, because in 2 hours, in about 15 minutes time, Manny Pacquiao is going to do a press conference in Brisbane with Jeff Horn, so it's a massive deal. To be fair, for Duco events to have not only a world title fight here, but Manny Pacquiao against Jeff Horn. So Umar is some well-worn path that you're following, so hopefully you do go well. Because of that press conference which is coming up, I'm going to ask Joseph and Raz just to come up here, and we'll just quickly, if you have some questions for them, then we'll go for it, and then we'll do a stare down, and we'll let you get on your way, because obviously there's traffic there, and you're going to get back to Ascendable. Yeah.
Joe, are we allowed to just throw questions?
Yeah, just go for it.
Kevin spoke about how, he thought about maybe calling off the fight, but you were adamant. Were you 100% certain that you wanted to fight, even, following the change of opponent?
Yeah, I train hard. Myself, my team, everyone in the background, promoters, everyone does their job. They're leading up to a fight, and then obviously we pulled out, and I said, I'm going to find an opponent. I'm ready to fight. I'm in great shape, physically, mentally healthy. So I wanted to get into the ring and do my thing. When you're out of the ring for a long time, it's like you're missing something. So I've trained all this time, put in the hard work, and now it's time to get this reward of getting in the ring, enjoying myself, not getting punched, that's not enjoyable, but enjoying being in the ring and doing my thing.
Joseph, obviously Fury's withdrawal prompted Deontay Wilder to put his statement out on social media. What's your response to what he said?
But there's only one focus in my head, and that's this guy over here. And maybe we can talk about Wilder and all those other guys after the fight, but if I look ahead, this guy's going to try and knock me out, so I have to fully focus on him, and then after May 6th, we sit down and talk to all these other guys trying to fight us.
What would your preferred road be after this fight? Would it be to fight someone like Deontay, or go to the UK and lead into perhaps a fight with Anthony Joshua?
Anyone. I'll fight anyone. Just it's a matter of making it work. Sitting up with the team, whatever we decide, and it has to work financially as well for the promoters. So, what can I say? Focus on this guy, fight him May 6th, and then I'll fight anyone after that.
Razvan, you mentioned in sparring with Joseph, you noticed some of his mistakes. What mistakes are those?
I'm sorry.
You said in sparring with Joseph, you noticed some of his mistakes.
Yes.
What are those mistakes?
I cannot tell you. I cannot say it.
Was I going 100%?
Close? I don't know.
Joe, can you
Maybe more than me, 100%.
Joe, could you just talk about the dynamics of actually fighting someone now that you have sparred with, and given that he had been sort of imitating someone else's style
Yeah.
for you, and what do you sort of know of your real opponent?
I don't even think I know the real Razvan, because he was trying to fight like the opponents that I was fighting. I did with Trinko and then Fury. So I'm not even, now I'm starting to wonder what he actually fights from.
Have you had to do a lot of sort of quick homework on him in terms of YouTubing fights and things
Oh,
like
look,
that?
you know, Raz is is one of the leading guys. I've been watching him for a long time. You know, don't forget, for the last 4 years, we've been plotting Joe's journey towards to the title, and you know, we actually looked at Raz a couple of times as an opponent, and never took that route. So, you know, I think that speaks volumes.
How many?
He's a big, strong guy. Look, let me tell you this. The fight that we had scheduled, this is a much better fight. This is a far more exciting fight. I can promise you that the last gentleman wouldn't have been able to hurt Joe at all. Okay, he would have ran around the ring for 12 rounds, and it would have been a horrible fight for the public and a horrible fight for the fans. This is going to be an exciting fight. This guy is a big, strong, powerful guy. Our previous opponent is not a big, strong, powerful guy.
Joe, out of everybody you've sparred, where would you rate Razvan's power that they talk about?
So Razvan was my main sparring partner for Devil Trinko and for the last champ. So let's say, you know, if he's the main sparring partner, that means he's giving the best work. And he's got power in that big arm of his.
Remember, you go to Las Vegas with this spot.
How many rounds would you have done together over the two camps? Do you think?
Oh, over the two camps.
Yeah.
That's a complicated question.
I can tell you we did 44 rounds this camp.
With Raz.
Yeah. But I can tell you we never sparred. I didn't spar him over the last week before we left.
So you would have done more rounds ahead of Dimitrenko than that?
Oh, I haven't even looked, but you know, possibly yes. You know, when you're at this level, a perfect example for you is this. There's a really big fight going on in the UK this weekend between Klitschko and Joshua. Joshua had 2 training camps with Klitschko, like we had 1 training camp with him. Okay, so, and yet they're fighting in one of the biggest fights ever. When you're at this sort of level, you bring the best people in. You don't bring in people that aren't going to give you world-class work. If you're a world-class athlete or a world-class fighter, you need world-class guys to train with. And that is why we have this guy with us.
We're going to leave it there, okay? So what we're going to do is just, if you want to quickly grab your microphones, everyone, and we'll move this out of the way, and then we'll give you your stare-down shot.
The second from the left.
Look out at the cameras, please. And now we stand straight, please. All right, good. Good shots. Thanks, guys. Now, I apologise that you haven't had a media schedule from me. Obviously, we've had a lot going on behind the scenes. I'll give you a media schedule in the next 24 hours, and I will also give you media accreditation as well. All right, thank you very much for today. We'll probably organise something for tomorrow with Razvan so you can see him train. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Oh, really?